Hi guys. So this week's saint is Saint Catherine of Siena. Hopefully you can see this without it being blurry. So Saint Catherine of Siena, when she was 6 years old, so that's not much older than some of you, that's kindergarten age, she had a vision where Jesus appeared to her and blessed her. And that obviously was such a powerful thing that happened to her that it changed her whole life. So from 6 years on, she devoted herself to becoming a guardian and a guide of the church. When she was 15, she joined the Dominican Order of Nuns. So her life, though, she came along during a time in the church where things were changing. It was kind of a dark time in the church. There were a lot of members of the church and leaders of the church who were not behaving the way they were supposed to. They were there for all the wrong reasons. They weren't there for God and Jesus and they were there for money and riches. And we don't have too many people like that in the church anymore. But at this time, there were a whole lot of them. And it was a time of war outside of the church. So just a whole lot of things were changing. And so St. Catherine of Siena traveled around and she tried to find these groups where people were starting to leave the church, and she tried to bring them back to the church and told them, no guys, it's okay, come back. Remember your true beliefs. So she set out on a mission of unity and peace. Unity means bringing people together, and peace means no fighting, they're living together. So she tried to bring everyone back together and not abandon Christianity, not abandon the Catholic Church. Another thing she did is at that time the Pope didn't live in Rome. He lived in France. And so St. Catherine of Siena went and visited the Pope and told him, no, you need to be back in Rome. Come back to Rome. Bring the church back to Rome. Stop trying to live like a king and, come back to Rome. So he actually listened to her and came back. And as you can tell, St. Catherine of Siena was not afraid to speak her mind. She told people what she thought and what she thought was best for the church. So that's kind of what she was known for. She spoke out strongly against people in the church who were not living the way they should. She ended up writing a book called The Dialogue, and she talked about all the visions she'd had. She talked about different spiritual experiences that made her who she is. And she was a big person who believed that God does nothing without a goal in mind. So everything happens for a reason. Everything that God has done, there's a reason, whether you know it yet or not. Okay. So she ended up dying at 33 of a sudden mysterious illness. I think that's my age. Something like that, 33. So she was about as old as me, and she passed away from a illness. So she is the patron saint against fire and bodily ills. Now our prayer to St. Catherine is, St. Catherine of Siena, you rose to the defense of the church when needed. Help me prove strong when my faith is tested. So right now it's kind of a different time in our lives, especially where it comes to church. We're not able to go to Mass right now like we normally are. And so some could say that this is a time when your faith is tested. You're trying to make sure that you are living for God and Jesus even if you can't go to Mass. Okay, so St. Catherine of Siena is a really good one to pray to right now. So in our morning prayers this week, I want you to make sure that you pray to St. Catherine of Siena. Bye.